Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. So, guys, I have been telling you about a surprise guest we will have on the show, and today they are here. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, I'm Kline Williams from Missing Black People. I have missing Black people for 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So the case we're doing today, you actually started the page for her, actually.
Yes, she was the inspiration for the page, and then others, along too, but she was the main inspiration.
Aw. About how many people would you say that you've helped so far?
I've helped those. It's been hundreds. I mean, not even because we found plenty of people, we found people safe, but just helped in general over the years, hundreds, because it's a lot of families that I talk to.
Oh, okay.
I talked to a lot of families. I was just talking to families of a girl that's missing for 31 years, another one 29 years. So I
Wow.
generally be talking to a lot of families. So I really can't keep up with that.
Well, we really want to thank you for everything that you do and the lives that you've touched. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, let's get into the case. Today's case is about a young mother with a radiant smile and a fierce love for her children. Life hadn't been easy. Early motherhood responsibility that came too soon. But she moved through it with grace. Her days were spent caring for her little ones, her weekends marked by a quiet drive across state lines to visit friends, places she knew like the back of her hand. The rhythm of her life was steady, familiar, until one night it wasn't. She left home in the stillness of the early morning. She called home, her voice calm and casual, assuring them that she was on her way back. But she never arrived. The hours ticked by, then days, and soon panic replaced patience. She hadn't just missed a call. She hadn't just lost track of time. She was gone. Her loved ones searched, her name whispered through the neighborhood and printed across missing posters. The road she's supposed to return to was driven again and again, as if retracing it might pull her back. But there were no answers, only questions. Where had she gone? Who had seen her last? What could have happened to that narrow window of time between the phone call and the silence that followed? 9 months passed before anything surfaced. Her car, abandoned, dusted, left behind like a forgotten memory, was found miles away. It was a piece of a puzzle, but it solved nothing. It only deepened the ache. Even more disturbing was the confession that days before she was ever reported missing, a homicide investigation had been done quietly, open nearby on a tip about a woman killed in a remote wooded area. No name, just a chilling possibility that the timeline aligned all too well. Years have slipped by, Her children have grown. The house she left that night had long since changed. But the question remained, pressing like a weight on the hearts of those she left behind. What happened to her? There is nobody, no arrest, no clear path to follow, only a lingering absence and a story that still waits to be told in full. This is a case of Risha Lewis. There is a certain kind of silence that lingers long after someone disappears. It hangs in the corner of a room, clings to telephone lines that no longer rings, slips into conversation as a whisper, a question, a memory. That silence has haunted the family of Risha Lewis since the early hours of January 22nd, 2006, when she was expected home but never walked through the doors again. Born on August the 9th, 1979, Risha was the first child of Richard Allen Lewis and Barbara Wilson Lewis, in a new chapter of their lives filled with hope and the joyful disorder of parenthood. Just under 2 years later, the Wilson family grew again with the birth of a second child, and together they built a home defined by family bonds and love. Risha's early years were marked by a warm personality and a lively spirit that made her unforgettable. She was known for her infectious smile and her deep devoted to those she loved. She wasn't perfect. No one is, but she had a big heart and she wore it openly. She had dreams, she had struggles, and by the time she was just 16 years old, she became a mother herself. In November of 1995, Risha gave birth to her first child, a son. It was the beginning of a new kind of responsibility, one she took seriously. Then, in April of 2002, she gave birth to her daughter. Life as a single mother wasn't easy, but Risha found joy in her children. They were her heartbeat, her anchor, her purpose. She worked hard to provide for them, surrounded by family and friends in Newcastle, Delaware. She lived on Morehouse Drive in the neighborhood that knew her name by heart. On weekends, Risha often traveled to Elton, Maryland, just over the state line. The town was familiar, and she had friends there, connections she built over the years. It was a routine until it wasn't. Saturday, January 21st, 2006 began like any other days. There were no warning, no signs, no reason to think anything out of the ordinary was about to happen. That evening, Risha left her home in Newcastle to visit a friend in Maryland. She told her family she wouldn't be long, just a visit. She promised to be back. At 1:30 a.m. early Sunday morning, she made a phone call home. She was on her way back, she said. Her voice was calm, normal. There was nothing in her tone to suggest danger, no fear. It was just Risha letting her loved one know she'll be home soon. But Risha never came home. And that was the last time anyone ever heard from her. When the sun rose on January 22nd and Risha still hadn't returned, concern quickly gave way to alarm. This wasn't like her. She would never abandon her children, never vanish without a word. Family members making phone calls, retracing her step, trying to contact anyone who might seen her that night. The police was contacted, flyers were made, her photo, a young woman with warm eyes and a quiet confidence, was circulated across communities in Delaware and Maryland. But there were no answers, no witnesses came forward. No one could say exactly where she had gone after leaving her friend's house, or if she had ever made it to that house. As days turned to weeks, theories came out, but evidence was painfully not there. Then suddenly, something surfaced. On October the 17th, 2006, nearly 9 months after Risha vanished, her car was found in Newark, Delaware, still bearing a Delaware license plates. The vehicle had been abandoned, left behind like a ghost of that fateful night. But the car offered few answers. There were no immediate signs of foul play inside. No blood, no obvious clues. It was as if the vehicle had simply parked and forgotten. Still, the fact that it had surfaced months later in a different city than where she had last known to be only deepened the mystery. And then another confession, even more chilling.
2 days before Risha was even reported missing, the Cecil County Sheriff Department in Maryland had quietly launched a homicide investigation. It was based on disturbing information. A woman had allegedly been killed in the Far Creek area of Elkton, the same town Risha was visiting that night. The connection was impossible to ignore, but nobody was ever found. No arrests were made. The case remained as foggy and elusive as the woods surrounding Far Creek. Was the tip about a murdered woman referring to Risha? If so, who knew about her death before her family even realized she was gone? Nearly 2 decades have passed, and the mystery of Risha Aleena Lewis remains unsolved. Her children, now adults, grew up without their mother. Her family continues to search, their hope dimmed but not extinguished. The time has dulled their pain. Her name still lingers in the air like a prayer, a plea, a question. Where is Risha? Was she the victim of foul play? Did someone close to her have something to hide? Or was she caught in something far more sinister? Something that reached across state lines and was buried deep in silence and shadows. The Newcastle County Police Department continues to investigate, with Detective Roberto Herrera Cortez still listed as the lead contact. But progress has been agonizing slowly. Leads grow cold. Witnesses forget. Evidence fades. And yet Risha's story is far from over. Someone out there knows what happened. Someone has the missing puzzle piece. Until the truth is uncovered, Risha Aleena Lewis remains not just a missing person, but a haunting mystery. A daughter, a mother, a woman whose voice was silenced on a night that should have ended like any other. Before we end this case, let's sit back and remember the young woman, Risha. There was something about her. Maybe it was the way she smiled, wide and unfiltered, as if joy came from someplace deep inside her. Maybe it was the way she walked into a room, unapologetic, warm, present. She wasn't the loudest person, but people noticed her. They always did. She grew up in a house filled with sounds of siblings, the voices of parents who tried their best, and the quiet pull of responsibility that came sooner than expected. She became a mother when she was barely more than a child herself, just a teenager trying to figure out life in a world that wasn't always kind. But she didn't run from it. She embraced it. Her children were her world, and she fought for them in ways only a young mother could. Fiercely, clumsily, and with her whole heart. She wasn't perfect. Life was messy. But she showed up day after day, moment after moment. She made ends meet. She gave what she had. And when she didn't have enough, she gave even more. On weekends, she'd drive across the state line. Just a short ride. Familiar roads, familiar faces. She had her people. She had her routines. Nothing about that Saturday night felt unusual. She left home with a promise to be back. She called later just to say she was on her way. Then, nothing. No footsteps on the porch, no door opening, no keys jingling in the lock, just silence. The kind of silence, it doesn't announce itself. It creeps in, slowly at first. A missed call, a late night that turns into a panicked morning, a feeling, heavy and unshakable, that something is wrong. Her family searched. Her name was whispered in prayers, cried into pillows, shouted through tears. Flyers went up, phone calls were made, strangers became allies. And still, she didn't come home. Months passed, seasons changed. Then one day, they found her car. Not her, just the car, abandoned in another town. No notes, no clues, just an eerie shell of a night no one could understand. A piece of her world left behind like a question no one could answer. And before she was even reported missing, the whispers of something darker had already begun. A tip, a rumor, a woman murdered in a wooded place not far from where she was supposed to be. A name never spoken, but the timeline so precise, so painfully aligned, made it hard not to wonder. Was it her? Was she scared? Was she alone? Was someone out there, walking free, carrying the secret of what had happened that night? Years have passed now. Her children are grown. The world has kept turning, but there is an emptiness where her laughter once lived. There's a hole in the story, in the family photos, in the lives she touched. She should be here, watching her kids fall in love, cheering them from the sidelines, dancing in kitchens, laughing at only things she would understand. Instead, she is a memory, a mystery, a name spoken in past tense by people who still expect her to walk through that door. Her name was Risha, and she is missed beyond measure. This is the case of Risha Aleena Lewis. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Research and do your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives.
Why did this case right here make you want to start the page?
Because, like, growing up, I had always watched Unsolved Mysteries, Forensic Files, and all that. But it was just, like you said, the smile. It was the smile that caught me.
Mm.
And I will always see her picture, and then I'll see it in a different place. And then, I ended up, her sister ended up moving across the street from me.
Wow.
And then she was telling me about her sister. It's like, yeah, my sister Risha's been missing. I said, oh, snap, really? And I told her, about the page I had and stuff like that. But at the time, we didn't talk. I think we talked years later. We talked for a little bit. But I think I was really deep into the page by then. But yeah.
It's almost like the soul of somebody is through their eyes, their smile, their personality. And it's almost, I don't know if you believe in spirituality, but
Yeah, I do.
yeah, it's almost like she summoned you or she called you, like you felt that calling and you answered it.
Yeah, I feel that too. I really do. I really do feel that with this case. Like, I've carried this case on my back for years, like trying to get her name out there. And the sad thing about it is she really was never really looked for. There was never really a formal search party to look for her. But all of the theories and rumors, they lead back to Elkton. I still believe that she's somewhere down there buried. I do believe the article, the woman is killed. I do think they're referring to Risha. There's no other, cases like that. And honestly, quite particularly down that Elkton, Maryland Road and all that, that's their MO down there. If they do something to you, they're burying you and kidnapping you, burying you, and they might never find you. So that's not new. And they have a lot of cases down there where they found people were missing, but that town down there, majority of the town knows this story. Even when I posted the story, like I continue to post the stories, people always say, "Yeah, I'm from Elkton, and everybody knows what happened." Of course, everybody knows what happened, but nobody's never said anything. It could lead. I mean, at this point, honestly, I wouldn't even want to see. I wouldn't even want them to see who just on tour. Just bring her home because her, her kids are, like you said, they're older now. She has a boy and a girl, and last year I talked to her daughter, and she told me, she's like, I'm not ready to hear that my mom's gone. So it's kind of like hard for her
Mm-hmm.
to talk about it and everything.
Wow.
I mean, her sister, she opened up about it a little bit, but not much. I guess it's hard. Of course it's hard because you're not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's 19 years now,
Yeah.
and she also went missing. Like January 21st is the date, but she actually went missing before that because the sister went to the police the first time, and he thought she was just away. So he was like, "Well, if she's not back by this day, then come back." And that's what happened after she went back. She told them, and that's when stuff started really, you know. But it's not really like she's never been in any newspaper. Well, she's been in newspaper, but it's like a little 3x5 article. Like my page has been profiling for years. That's how a lot of people know about her cases and other different cases of mine.
Man. But that's very common because the police are like, oh, come back this day and then you can report them. And then sometime when they put the information out there, it be the wrong date. We had a case like that with Kiera. She was a post office worker that went missing and her date of disappearance was wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's been like it's been like the Millbrook twins. I don't know if you guys heard about them.
We did a case on it. That's our third episode. We actually did a case on them.
Okay, well, I actually interviewed her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I interviewed her sister on my YouTube channel.
Mm.
This was like our second video. Yes, that case is.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of cases out there that are like that, but that's why, and that's another reason why too. My page is in also too because I do know how the black people are treated when it comes to as far as runaways, and that's the first thing they say.
Mm-hmm.
So many of these cases, if you look back and they say runaway, and you're looking like, nah, they didn't run away. I mean, I understand some kids do run away, but you can't label everybody run away.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can't label everybody run away. And sometimes kids are generally running from stuff. Recently, a case of Lori Page. That case broke my heart because the first time when she went missing, they found her hiding, and what it was she didn't want to go back to her dad's house. And I knew, I said to my heart, I'm like, then they sent her back, and then when she went missing again, I just felt in my heart something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, just sometimes these kids be crying out for help in these cases.
Right.
But the system fails them, and we see that time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the police, whether it's CPS, family members, friends, anybody,
The biggest key and the biggest life and everything is the communication. There's no communication between grown folks, or so I say, supposed grown folks. If there was communication and more structure, we'd be off a lot better with everything. But it seems like nobody's there. Everybody wants to make that money and everything, but nobody wants to be there to actually do the job they're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say everybody because you have some that actually are in a position that try. But if everybody's not on the same page or it's not a teamwork, then you're not gonna get up. This is like your parents with somebody, and you got one parent that's doing something, and then the other one's not doing anything. It's not gonna work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Different pages.
Yeah, different pages to a different book.
Right. And then the first 48 hours are like the most crucial. I just don't understand why they don't want to look for somebody, why they have us wait. I understand that there's some people that do appear, but I think if you had to weigh the two, I would rather spend a couple $100 and make sure that that person is alive than the other case, which is the person is missing and we don't know what happened.
And that's what happens. Like you said, that first crucial 24 to 48 hours. And this case is like I said, it's never really been talked about. And I know some friends of hers too. I posted a picture because I'm actually from Delaware myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Wilmington. So we have mutual friends that we both know both know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, the case. I mean, it's something that'll never leave me until like some part of resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just crazy to hear that they're so accustomed to say, I don't even really care who did it, just bring her home. To me, to be conditioned like that, it's just like there's so much bad that they've been exposed to that's kind of like their new norm,
Yeah, that is, and you got to think about something else too. after a person is gone for so long, and they're just like bones, then the death is determined, undetermined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really, unless they're they find bullets or something there, is undetermined. So a lot of times they don't know if it's homicide or they can't. And it baffles me, but that's just the way our laws work, and I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
It's just sad. I mean, just hearing that the date of her going missing was wrong, so that tip that the police did get probably was her.
Yeah.
She probably got unalive, and they probably did bury her in those woods. I wonder if, can the police actually do their jobs now and go look over there to see if they can even find her?
Right.
that case is probably as cold as ever. And see, a lot of times when you try to get stuff on the news,
Mm-hmm.
they want the actual family members to come forward. Because I'm trying to get in the paper, get in the news, but a lot of times they want family. But I'm like, I'm the advocate. Like I've been advocating for her for years, trying to get her case looked at, because I think that if they put the right people on this case, then it's solvable.
Correct.
Right.
But also, too, the key in this case is going to be people close to her. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I tell y'all this case runs deep, it runs deep.
Okay.
Some stuff we can't talk on the air. I'm gonna put you like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It runs real deep and it's solvable. But when you have so-called friends in your life, and I mean so-called because if anything happens to my friend and I know that I can somehow be instrumental in helping her case, I'm talking.
Right.
Especially if I claim she's my best friend. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't withhold information like that. I don't care how scared you are. If you say you're my friend and you're there for me, then you talk and you say things. So
Right.
until then, this case is going to be like that.
Right.
We always say that on our cat stories. We're like, sometimes family members or friends knows and they just keep their mouth shut. And it's like, just speak up. If you really love that person was really important in your life, speak up.
I understand that people do get scared, but if you can help save their next victim, I feel like it'll be worth it, And you also bring justice to the friend that you lost or the family member that you lost.
That's true. That's true. Another thing too, people won't say anything, but as soon as it happens to them, they're the first one front and center.
Mm-hmm.
How it come out? Y'all know who did this? I've seen it. I've seen it so many times.
Wow.
I've seen it, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's generally what happens. But I watch a lot of stories and crime stories where people held stories in it for 20 years. They talk about they were scared or something like that, or I just don't get. Some cases I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad that her so-called friends know so much, but they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything." But it's like, how can you sit around and not do anything? And plus, her kids won't answers.
Well, also too, they might be spooked too,
Yeah.
because some people down there. I'm telling you like this: you can't go through there by yourself. You're not walking through there. You're not walking through Far Creek. You hear me?
Yeah.
So
You
not.
probably don't want to go down there either. That's
No.
one of the most roughest parts down there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fool with that. I don't fool with that part down there. I'm up top. I don't go down Southern.
Wow.
Because back in the days, it was how slavery was, and people was getting lynched and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All that happened down there years ago, and we had like a couple cases like that. So
Oh.
yeah, them Southern states down Delaware, nope.
Well, that's good to know. I would not go over
Right.
there.
Take that off the list
Uh,
of places I should visit.
My wife's from Memphis, and I was low key a little scared. I ain't gonna lie, but
Yeah, I wasn't.
I think really, honestly, in each city and state, it's really where you go because like you say, different parts of cities are bad. Like different hoods are bad. So it's all in where you go, because I know in our state we have a lot of good neighborhoods too.
right.
So it's just all about that.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna mention earlier, I think part of the culture too affects the way that people respond to something. So I don't know about you guys, but kind of growing up, you're kind of told oh, don't cry, don't show your emotions, mind your business, keep your hands to yourself type thing. A lot of things that you're just supposed to suppress.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think now people are realizing, no, we got to speak up because the next person might be going through what you're going through. And maybe just communicating, like you said, talking to each other, like you see that you have more in common and it's more beneficial to let this out than keep suppressing it. Because a lot of the times, like you get anxiety, you get all kinds of like health issues or mental issues, because you're trying to suppress something that you shouldn't in the long run.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And I think, that's a good thing that we should put out there is, like even though you're scared or whatever, like talk. You don't have to tell everybody, but just tell the right person. And honestly, just keep like following up and try and do as much as you can for whatever you want to achieve.
Close some of these cases. Close some of these closed cases, these cold cases, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of them just need a little bit more persistence from like the investigators or the police department or just somebody who knows what happened. They just need to be like encouraged to go out there and speak.
And also you gotta like encourage the families, like when a loved one goes missing and you feel as though the police not doing anything, that's when you spring into action. You start putting fires. You start doing your search parties. I know they tell people, "Oh, you should do your search parties," but if you don't, and they're not looking for them, then both of you sitting around.
Yeah,
They gotta get on their job and get out there and do what's necessary.
you got to
But
trust.
I know I would. I'm not gonna sit around with one of mine missing. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for them.
Right.
Mm-mm.
It's a lot of cases where the family members actually kind of solve the case and the police just like, oh, thank you for doing all the work. We got it from here. It's like, no, they solved the case. They went out looking. They searched. They found the evidence. One case, I forgot the name of the lady. Her friends went and searched for her and found her body. The police didn't look for her. They found her. And they still have not found out what happened to her that night.
That's crazy. We had a mom down here in Delaware.
Hmm.
She solved her son's murder within 24 hours. I
Wow.
knew who did it. Yes, knew who did it and everything.
Did you ever watch? There's a documentary, I believe it's called The Girl on Fire
Who's that about?
Into the fire thing.
or Into the Fire, something like that.
Is this?
Yes, I believe it's on Netflix, but basically it's a mom that gave up her child when she was young, so she never really even met her. And then a new family adopted her. And then it turns out, spoiler alert, that the dad was like beating her and abusing her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he unalived her and he buried her in his backyard. And they reached out to the mom. She was like trying to solve this. She had never met her daughter, mind you. She had never met her, but something kept calling to her. Like she got on Google Maps. You know how there's Google Earth?
Mm-hmm.
So she was like looking up the location. She was like just kind of, posting, making Facebook pages and everything. And something called her. There was a spot on Google Maps called to her. And she was like, that's where my daughter is buried. I just know it. And nobody believed her. But you know how they have to go through all of these hoops to get into, the property and get the warrant and do what they have to do. It was so much, but she solved the murder and she
She
had
did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you why, because she's actually my Facebook friend.
Oh,
And
really?
that's how I learned that what you're talking about. Now that you're talking about, that's how I learned of that.
Mhm.
She be writing stuff now, and they be mad because she be saying stuff, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love it because she advocated for her daughter from the game. She really be talking her mess on there on the. She's really mad that that wife didn't get charged.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yes.
really mad about that, but she posted it every day. I told her keep posting. I said, listen, keep this stuff coming. A voice your opinion. So
Yep.
yeah, I talked to her a couple of times within the comment section of her. Yeah, she's on fire right now. She's not playing.
Yes.
Same way she was in that documentary is how she is on her post. That lady means business, and I'm all for
Yeah.
it.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I loved it.
It was a good documentary.
I think now I'm about to go now I'm about to go watch it now.
Yes, it's really good.
She
I
did a good
recommend
job.
it.
That's good.
But I mean, if we had more people with her same determination, perseverance, and honestly, like she wasn't scared to get her hands dirty, you know?
She wasn't gonna be denied. That's another thing too. She was not gonna be denied.
Yep.
That's the number one thing, and I like that. Then you won't be denied. Nope. You gotta keep pushing.
If everybody had a little bit of her mindset, we would go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would. We definitely would. I hope like going forward that we have more people that are actually getting on podcasts like you guys talking about cases. Bringing awareness to them because I feel like now a lot of the podcasts and online, are actually helping these cases to get solved or get information.
Yes.
And it's a lot of them out there too. It's a lot of good ones too.
And that's what we say. We say like a lot of podcasters are kind of like solving the cases. Like they're getting out there. It's so many articles I see online that because a podcast did an episode on a victim, people start talking to them. They start like, hey, we know this. Instead of like going to the police, they went to them and they're like, okay, let's work this through. Let's figure out like what happened.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this age group is like technology and social media awareness. So that's why I feel like a lot of cases are getting solved basically through social media.
Yeah.
Yes. I have another friend. She has a page. It's called 1970s and 80s Jane and John Doe's. So she posts, the unidentified on there.
Mm-hmm.
So recently she posted a woman on there, unidentified, the body and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody commented and said, this looked like my mother that's been missing.
Wow.
Well, it turns out it was her mother. Yeah. And then what was it? I'm gonna say it's got to be 2 years now. We were online. A woman was looking for her mother. Come to find out, she was the Brooklyn Jane Doe. Look that case up. The Brooklyn Jane Doe was found in like somewhere in the 90s, I'm gonna say, and it turned out it ended up being her mother. That's the first time I've seen that online. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Like that was just to hear about stuff, but to see it, and be a part of that, like yeah.
It gave me chills, literally, but in a good way, But I mean, it's sad, but it's so crazy how I don't know if you've heard, but there's like a sixth sense, and I mean, I believe it.
You know what? Though, I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, it is. It is. It is a crazy sixth sense, but you know what? I'm not scared of the dead people. It's the people that's living that you got to worry about.
Correct.
They can't hurt us. We be so scared of the dead. Like, nah, they can't hurt us. It's the one living we got to worry about. We ain't got to worry back. Worry about somebody.
I think it's the movies though. Like whenever they're like under the white blanket, and then all of a sudden they start moving. It's just really the movies that do it for me.
Yeah, I'm a scary, and it's no crazy. I'm a scary person type of movie. I love scary movies.
I
She's
can't
scared of them.
Yeah, I watch it, but the older scary movies are the best. These new movies, some of them are good, but they can't top my Cujo and all the other old ones. Yeah.
No.
I think the Amityville did it for me. I was like, no, I can't go back.
My best friend, The Exorcist, she can't watch.
I watched it like a couple times.
Oh no. I used to have sleep paralysis, and I think whenever that happened, there was one time that I saw like this. It's like a ghost, or it was like this really pale man in dark suit. And ever since then, I can't do it. So, but thank God I don't have sleep paralysis anymore. But yeah, that's what did it for me, honestly.
Not me. But hopefully this case gets solved. Like we just need one person not to be scared and to speak up.
Right.
Because I feel like you said, people know what happened. People probably know where her body at, but they just too scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, there'll never be any closure. Because I hear people say all the time they want family after closure. I always say answers because even if she's found, and when she's found, because I believe she's going to be found one day, then the other questioners are going to start getting asked. Well, what happened to her? Who killed her? It's a never-ending saga with missing cases. That's why people say they got closure. There's no closure because at the end of the day, after these people are found and identified, the family still have to grieve alone, or after that, a murder case is opening up now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, with the Gilgo Beach, they're not tying her to them yet. But the lady and her daughter that were identified yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
Peaches, though,
Mm-hmm.
she was identified as, I believe, Tiffany Jackson and her daughter Tatiana Dykes. It just, now it's a murder case. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took them 31 years to identify her and the baby. And now there's a murder case.
Mm-hmm.
So this person, or whoever, if it is Rex, I'm not sure, then it had a 31-year head start.
Right.
Wow.
A full life, basically.
Yeah.
Full life, yeah. But I like the fact that a lot of these cases and cold cases are getting solved.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love it when they run the show and they knock on a person's door and they wonder why they're there, and they're like, oh, the look on their face,
Yeah.
that look is priceless. Seriously, because a lot of these cases they deserve, and a lot of these cases back then could have been solved if the detective or casework was proper.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these cases, I wish I was doing this type of work back then. I'm telling you, I would have a lot of cases solved. I'm telling you, I'll be all over now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. I hope that this one right here get to the right people and hopefully her case is solved. Well, that's the show, guys. And I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to bring this case out there. We are on all social media podcasts, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. We are there. We also are on YouTube. So please comment, like, subscribe. Please join Lesbian Detective Podcast. And guys, don't forget, we are going live. We are talking about this episode and even more of our old episodes. We also talking about True Crime 1 Minute on our TikTok. So please go ahead and go to our TikTok, Lesbian Detective Podcast, and follow and join the live. I cannot wait to hear you guys' theories and what you think might have happened, or even a case you want us to talk about on our live. We are open to everything. We'll start going live every Friday talking to you guys about true crime. So, wife, got anything to say?
It was amazing to have Kline join us on our podcast today. He had so much information. He helps a lot of people. Honestly, that I'm touched that he does what he does, and I would just like to thank him again for doing everything that he does. If we had more people like him, more cases would be solved. I believe would be solved.
Yeah, I mean, listen to how many people he has helped and also helped solve their cases. Round of applause to him.
Yes.
Because sometimes family members don't know who to turn to or go to ask for help. And I'm glad that they went to him. Even if you guys are scared and you have somebody that's missing, go to him. Let him put your loved one case out there, or even come to us and we will give it our all to make sure that your loved one case gets out there.
If you need a voice, please feel free to reach out either to Kline or to us, and we'll put the information that you need out there.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And always remember, everybody's a suspect
Until proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.